Hello, this is Sofia Sunshine coming to you with authentic wisdom. And today I want to talk to you about chronic pain and its connection with our relationships. So, first and foremost, I want to make sure you're aware I am not a medical doctor. I am not here to give you any kind of medical advice. I am only sharing my experience. And my experience comes from a lifetime of battling immune deficiency, Lyme disease, chronic pain, inflammatory disorders, the gamut. Being a highly sensitive person, being late diagnosed autistic. The list goes on, and so I'm not going to bore you with that. But it's been my mission in life to unravel the suffering. So, because we're here to have a good life, and for a lot of people, chronic pain has become an epidemic, and it has become crippling to our quality of life. So I want to speak a little bit about some of the sources that may not be talked about in your medical office, right? So we're covering a whole different arena here. First, I want to start out with the Ayurvedic medical system and the belief about how we come into having physical issues or physical dis-ease. And in Ayurveda, they believe that we have 5 different what are called sheaths or bodies. And so we're not just a physical body. We're a spiritual body, we're an emotional body, we're an energetic body, and we are a divine body. And then we have our physical body. And it's not until something has become so impressed upon our psyche, our spirit, our emotional body, mental body, that it makes its way into the physical body. So very often, if you do work with a practitioner that's going to try to get to the root of what's causing a physical ailment or a physical pain, you're always going to find, or you're frequently going to find, either an emotional correlation, a belief, a thought pattern, or some kind of an event that was traumatic in your life that might have planted the seed for this later physical ailment or pain or suffering or response to get started. Now, how this plays a role in how your chronic pain is connected to your relationship. So let's go back to when you were a baby in the womb, right? Very, very impressionable. You were just a sensitive little energy body becoming a small human body, and you were connected to your mother. Your mother is giving you everything, and that is not just nourishment, warmth, fluids, love, her flesh and bones. She's also passing on to you her emotions, her feelings, her beliefs. The events that happen while you're in the womb have a significant impact. And then you come out of the womb, right? So there's already, let's say, some of you may or may not understand that we're all made of energy, right? So there's a frequency. You, as a little baby, you are a vibrating energetic body, right? But within that frequency, because you've come from your mother, you have other little pearls of frequency that might be considered dissonance, that have just started. It's like little kernels, right, of sensitivity. And we are so paired with our mothers, right, energetically. It's where our very first awareness of empathy begins, because until we're 7 years old, when the brain moves to the next stage of development, children actually don't know that they're separate. They identify with the mother and then also with the father or whatever the guardians are, right? Those adults in them, they aren't cognizant. You aren't cognizant that you're separate. Okay, so in the very first fabric of your being is this interrelatedness, is this identifying as that we are not separate. And like many of the videos that I do, something comes up and I was like, oh, there's a rabbit hole. We could totally go down that for how that applies to culture, how that applies to all our relationships. And that would be attachment theory, right, in psychology. Another video. But so here we have that there is an empathic psycho-emotional, physical connection at an early age to first our mother and then any other guardians that are really significant in our very early years, right? So there's a tuning going on there. What are the things that become, what are the wounds that get passed on? What are the proclivities or beliefs that get passed on in those first 7 years, okay? And do those feed into your belief of your own wellness, your safety, right? Okay? So then you have when you start to identify as an individual, and that's around 6, 7, 8 years old. And a lot of times, there's a fair amount of pushback and strife that happens, more so in teenage years when you're really trying to assert yourself as an adult. But here you have the conflicts start to where you're wanting to be an individual, and you have then the parentals or the school teachers or the elders or even the classmates, right? You have this outer world of perspectives and how you are experiencing safety, love, acceptance, wellness, or if you're experiencing abuse, bullying, not fitting in, differences. We all know that most people have some kind of trauma. Now, I want to stop here and talk about briefly that those who are on the neurodiverse spectrum, and I'm going to speak specifically from the autism spectrum, but anyone whose neurodiversity is different to where they have a larger number of neural networks and are taking in more stimulus and more information, which we've also found in research studies that because of differences of people, frequently children actually with their own, sensing, social sensing, pick up on when children are different. And that tends to correlate with why so many children who are on the spectrum end up experiencing really difficult bullying. And a lot of times that bullying, my own experience was that bullying was so consistent for so many years of my childhood that then there is a hyperactivity of the nervous system at an early age. High amounts of trauma happen. And in that process, there becomes a very intense internalization of whatever the information that's coming in, right? The hate speech or the discrimination or the you're not enough or you're something about your body, or the list goes on. It's going to be a certain arrangement, right, of trauma triggers for you. And then there's the dynamic of what's been passed down to you, all right? So again, another video I can feel. It's so intense. There's such a massive web of things we cannot see that impact our experience on a psychosomatic, emotional, physical, spiritual level, okay? And this is where, as I share this information with you in different videos, I always want to really reinforce the importance of curiosity and compassion. Oh, look at that. That's fun. All right. So curiosity and compassion are always going to be our guiding principles on how to care for ourselves. Because to think back to these events is challenging, right? Like I can feel the energy of just how much I've gone through because it's a very bodily experience. And then it's also an energetic experience. And it's an imprint, right? It becomes an imprint on your psyche and on your body. Now let's talk about how that has to do with pain, right? So pain and relationships. So right there, from an early time, what were your relationships like? Did you feel safe in your relationships? Heard, seen, understood? Was what was supposed to be love actually loving, right? And so whatever activities were happening, or trauma, or bullying, or abuse, things that would trigger unsafe feelings in your body, which is then, your fight, your flight, your freeze, your fawn, those dynamics of cortisol being released into your body, which is telling your immune system that there is an alert, and your immune system tied in with this other, parasympathetic nervous system, they're all interrelated, okay? So when something gets internalized, then a pattern starts cellularly to where the body is thinking that there's something to attack, right? Even though that thing may be outside of you, right? This is one way that food allergies start, is the link between an emotional trauma and a food. And then next thing you know, the food is seen as an enemy, and what you need to get nourishment from, just like which relationships you needed to get nourishment from, become the adversary. And your system gets wired for attack, but inside you. So it becomes this cellular battle to where your cells now are carrying this imprint of whatever the beliefs that were generated, the thoughts that came from the bullying or the abuse, the misappropriation of what love is or isn't, if it's tied to abuse, other types of abuse. And again, just very much be compassionate and kind and loving to yourself. But this is at the root of how chronic pain is tied to our relationships. So because this is such a huge topic, and I want this to be a dip. I don't want to stretch this out, all right? Because I'm going to do a lot of other videos that have to do with this subject, because it's just so huge. Because we're not simple beings as much as we'd like to be. So let's fast forward to our current relationships. And the ones that are closest to us are the ones that have the highest likelihood of mirroring dynamics from the past. Now, if you have a parent, if you're an adult who has a parent that you are still close with and interact with on a regular basis, I want to warn you that those are the most highly potential relationships for a continuous dynamic or arrangement that's happened on the unconscious, all right? Now we have to forgive or give some forgiveness here around what's unconscious. And even the fact that a lot of our elders, they're coming from a generation where bringing certain things into consciousness is almost impossible. It's just not, they're not looking to do that. And so with a grain of salt, we have to take responsibility for our own experience. And you might disagree. That's fine. Because yes, there are instances, lots of them, where abuse has just been completely unacceptable and you don't feel that you should forgive them or you should even have them in your lives. There's complicated aspects of these parental relationships. So wherever you are, again, be curious and compassionate, because the number one intention is for you to come back to caring for yourself. Because the chronic pain patterns are frequently linked to unconscious dynamics. And so you may find that when you try to have a relationship with certain people, that there are psychosomatic symptoms that arise either before, during, or after. Some people experience that they might have a visit with someone that they love very much, but there's these dynamics that are unconscious that you haven't been able to reconcile. And there's still an enmeshment going on where then the next morning or later that day, you're just like, why do I feel like I've got this headache, or my inflammatory response has gotten extended, or I wake up feeling like I got hit by a bus. And in these situations where, we want to look for like, well, what's the trigger? What did I do? What did I eat? Did I overdo this or whatever? I just want to offer you this very simple exercise, because trying to tease through every single psychosomatic trigger can be traumatizing. And that's what a lot of talk therapy does that. And in many ways, those that are highly sensitive, I feel, are going to have more productivity with visualizing a different outcome, doing meditation that's, a healing process. Not everybody can meditate, but there's a lot of kinds of meditation. So those will be other videos that I go into. Art, writing, movement, somatics, using your body. And I can feel, as I say that, I can feel that like there's chills running up my back, because this is such valuable medicine for the fact that if you're highly sensitive, your empathic nature makes you wide open to the psychological, psychic, energetic impacts of other people's emotional trauma, unresolved issues. Okay? So if you visit a parent that is suffering, and a lot of everybody's suffering in some way, but if it's something that they can't talk about or they're holding it, and you're the closest person to them, like, you are highly likely to take that on. And it's not that they're trying to force it on you. It's literally an unconscious aspect within the relationship. It could be with your loved one in your very house. It could be with your children. It could be with your best friend. But this is where, how do we discern? How do we discern and get our power back, right? And how do we reduce our our chronic pain response to psychic energy, right? So first we have to discern, oh wait, maybe this isn't mine. Maybe this isn't mine. I can love someone, but that does not mean I need to take on their psychic energy. It does not mean I need to take on their pain or their suffering or their chronic illness, okay? It does not mean I even need to take on things that have happened in the past. I need to focus on loving myself, on being sovereign in this body and in this heart, right? So number one is I need to love myself, and you can decide, but maybe you want to just give that person love, right? But first identifying, like, let's say you wake up and the pain is there. And we all know, if we've had chronic pain, we wake up and it's just like this shroud, right? It's a shroud of, oh no, another day of pain. And we take it on. We take it on as an identity. We take it on as a shadow of worthlessness, of incapacity, of disablement, or like just dread, or we can't feel like we can get moving because this is a shadow, right? It's hanging over us and in our body. But before you even get out of bed, when you're confronted with that, I want you to lovingly try this and let me know how it goes. Lovingly say, any of this pain that is not mine, I release you now. Any of this pain that is not mine, I release this now. And you can say that as many times as you feel is necessary. Now, the transition is going to take a little while, so don't expect it to just flip a switch. If it does, that's great. But then I want you to visualize like a box or an oval of light, okay? Because you're going to scan your body. You're going to scan your body. You're going to see this like oval of light just going, kind of like Star Trek, right? Okay. Just and see that. And every time this light passes through your body, I release any and all emotional, psychic, physical pain that is not mine. I release any and all emotional, psychic, physical pain that is not mine. Okay? And you're going to do that. Just let that light run over you. I am free of pain. I am free of pain. Whatever mantra, whatever belief, whatever thought that is going to help shift, and you're just going to let that light run through you. And then as it progresses, like, what's the next one? Today is a beautiful day. Today is a beautiful day. And here's why this is so important. Because if you get out of bed with that shadow hanging over you, it's going to take so much of your energy to transition that. But if before you get out of bed, you take some time to reset your mindset, your love for yourself, and you send your own cells the signal that I am worthy, I am love, I am pain-free. Whatever that stuff is that you're trying to pick up on, that's not mine. It's not mine. I do not take it on. I do not take it on. I do not take it on. It is not mine. Okay? And you just clear that. And now movement and clearing the shadow from your view, from your heart, from your lens as you enter the day, is super important. Okay? So there is an intimate connection. There's an intimate connection with our relationships and our chronic pain, but the relationship with yourself and how you identify with the pain is the most important relationship. Okay? How you love yourself, show yourself compassion, give yourself time to energetically shift your mindset, your view of the day, your belief about what's going to unfold, and then to move. You have to move, and you have to do things to care for yourself, whether that's just getting up and making your delicious coffee drink in the morning, which is one of my anchors, and then you make yourself a healthy breakfast, and then you go outside and breathe some fresh air and move and maybe walk the dog. And then it's like sit down, and if you need to sit down and organize your day, whatever these things are, these are loving actions that are important to you being in a positive relationship with yourself and not allowing the relationship with the pain to dominate. The relationship with the pain cannot dominate because then it wins. Okay? And there's lots of other things to talk about in relation to that as well, because that is an energy even all on its own. So I hope this is helpful to you. I'm sending you so much love. And if any of this is helpful, and try it, okay? Try it and let me know how it goes. And if you want to learn more about it, or any of these other topics that I'll be sharing with you about neurodiversity, spirituality, healing, creativity, there's so many yummy topics, and they're so rich. So I hope you'll continue to join me, and I'd love if you liked this or you subscribe. That's great. I'm Sofia Sunshine. Welcome to Authentic Wisdom, and thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.